We're going to talk about why the Seahawks Super Bowl win is a nightmare for the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's do it. Chiefs Kingdom, ACU crew, NFL fans worldwide. We're all chiefed up. We're back with another live stream for that ass. Let's freaking go, baby. We're going to talk about the running back market, what Kenneth Walker did here in the Super Bowl, and all kinds of stuff coming up because we all know the Chiefs have some holes to fill this offseason. Free agency is coming sooner than later. But before we get started, let's shout out DraftKings for sponsoring today's live stream.
The next great playoff touchdown is coming, and you can bet on every moment of postseason glory. We've teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook because playoff football delivers the biggest scores of the year, and every trip to the end zone matters more than ever. Whether it's first touchdown score, anytime touchdown, player props, or same-game parlays, DraftKings gives you more ways to ride the adrenaline of every score during Super Bowl 60. Right now, new customers that bet $5 can get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins by signing up using our promo code ACU. With DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Let's go, guys. Download it. Use that promo code ACU. If you do not have it, get to it, baby. Mike, let's talk about this game last night. The Super Bowl was a bit on the boring side, but some things took place. Seattle Seahawks won the Super Bowl. Sorry, New England. And Kenneth Walker had himself a night, Mike. Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, he did. Kenneth Walker absolutely destroyed everything about the Chiefs' offseason plans to this point, in my opinion. He had himself a game. It was fun to watch, but Seattle's domination, and it was a flat-out domination. This has been 2 years in a row now. 2 years in a row where the defense has just come in and dominated another side's offense. And it's been the NFC dominating the AFC. We've seen it last year with the Chiefs and the Eagles. That was a horrible game last year for our offense. It's pretty crazy, the similarities. Last year, we allowed 6 sacks. And Seattle got 7 sacks this year. 2 turnovers, 2 interceptions in each game. Both winning teams had a pick 6. There was a fumble recovered on each side, and then they allowed the Chiefs to score 17 last year. We scored 17 on the Eagles, and they could only put up 13 on the Seahawks last night. So you're seeing a shift in the football world, Steve. It used to be high-flying, high-scoring, but now it is defense, pressure on the quarterback, and it is run game. It is run game, and Kenneth Walker, that performance last night was insane, and he may have just priced himself right out of what the Chiefs can pay him, and let's hope it didn't bring up the entire running back market.
Well, that's what I wanted to talk about more is because I don't think the Chiefs were ever a big player in Kenneth Walker. Let's get that straight. I just don't think that was a thing. But we all know that they loved Breece Hall, right? So they were going to go after him. And they were going to try to trade for him at the trade deadline. They weren't able to get a deal together. Brett Veach don't forget stuff like that, Mike. When he likes a guy, he's going to go out there and get him eventually. We've seen this take place quite a few times. So to me, it was more about how Kenneth Walker affected the entire running back market. Because now that we go into the offseason, I think with a little bit of boost from that MVP in the Super Bowl there, Kenneth Walker is going to be looking at somewhere the 15 million plus range, like yearly. I mean, that's what you're looking at. So I think Breece Hall is probably going to use that as a baseline because if you look at like talent-wise and everything like that, Breece Hall is kind of top of that class there. And I think he's going to be like, well, if Kenneth Walker is going to get 15 plus million, then I'm definitely going to get 15 plus million.
Well, look, I think Kenneth Walker last night may have shown that he could be a more sought-after product than Breece Hall. He don't have that massive leg injury he's coming back from that Breece Hall did. Now, I will say this. They've both only missed, I think, the same amount of games in their career. So I know Kenneth Walker and Breece Hall both have had some kind of a injury kind of, stigma put on them. I think they both, I'm not for sure how much it is, 10 games, 15 games, somewhere that 10 to 15 game mark is what they both missed, but it's pretty much the same. But look, Breece Hall in 2025, 1,065 rushing yards, and that's with the lowly Jets. Like, they didn't have anything there. I think he's a better receiver than Kenneth Walker, although Kenneth Walker does not drop a lot of passes. But I do think Breece Hall offers you more in the receiving game. Kenneth Walker, though, this year, 1,027 rushing yards. He's pure explosiveness. We seen that last night. He handled 25-plus carries last night. We even heard he got an injection to be able to go last night, and they put the game on his back. He delivered. He was splitting carries all year long with Zach Charbonnet, so they kept him super healthy for the playoffs. And once he got there, he was good to go. He did play in all 17 games this year. So, I mean, the injury-prone label, it was off this year, I guess you could say. I think he did a good job, and depending on the team and what you're looking for, Breece Hall may be behind Kenneth Walker going into free agency for some teams. But I think they're definitely 1A, 1B. I don't think that's super debatable at this moment. But I do think, like you said, if Kenneth Walker has bumped himself up to this $13 to $15 million range, and no matter what the estimates are, for big-time players and for what Kenneth Walker just did, an 18-year drought. He just had the most he got the first MVP for a running back in the Super Bowl since Terrell Davis in 98. That's insane. That's a 28-year streak broken. 413 total yards in the postseason. It's insane. That is the first player since Terrell Davis to do that in 97-98 to have 100-plus scrimmage yards in every playoff game of a championship run. So he went nuts, man. And I'm pretty sure he may have leapfrogged Breece Hall right now as the most expensive running back on the market. I think he might be right there.
I don't think it matters either way. He's not leaving Seattle. Seattle's not going to let him go after Super Bowl MVP performance. They're just not going to do it. He fits right into what they want to do, and it's pretty freaking obvious. So I think that he ends up staying in Seattle regardless. But what it's going to do is Breece Hall is going to make just as much money as Kenneth Walker. You keep saying he might have priced him out, but that's not true. He's going to make the exact same amount of money or pretty damn close. And I think if you go back to their college days, I actually thought Kenneth Walker was a better prospect. That was my guy coming out of that draft. So as far as running backs go, and the thing about it is, dude, Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, it doesn't matter who you're talking about. I think the big theme of what happened last night, like you mentioned earlier, was kind of showing that shift that the NFL's taken to more of a ground and pound, more of a defensive heavy type thing. Like it's kind of getting away from the RPOs and the big, huge plays and the high-flying offenses. It's just that's where it's at right now, right?
Yeah.
So I think that what it did was it kind of flipped that entire narrative that running backs don't matter anymore. Because there was a time where the talk of everybody was, it doesn't matter what running back you got. The Chiefs went and got Isaiah Pacheco in the 7th round of the draft, and they're winning Super Bowls. He's doing just fine. You don't have to invest in a running back. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. I think the whole narrative has been flipped on its head now. And I think that's the main thing. So I think the entire running back market itself is going to become more of a priority, which they're going to use to their advantage. That Kenneth Walker Super Bowl MVP is going to be a little bit of a premium now, which is going to raise that mark just a little bit more. Also, you have to consider that they're getting ready to raise the salary cap $30 million. So everybody wants to go up a little bit. Every time they move that up, everybody wants to get paid a little bit more. So I think it could definitely change things. Maybe the Chiefs change from I definitely want Breece Hall to now maybe we fill another role here and we go get Jeremiah Love on the cheap or something of that nature. So, I mean, I think there are some effects from what happened last night in the Super Bowl going into free agency, 100%. And I think it's going to affect the Chiefs some way, somehow. Because Etienne's going to be right there too, dude. And now he's even going up. So it's just, I think it's the whole running back market.
Yes, exactly. I think that was the doom we seen last night. Again, this goes back to what I said. This was a fun playoff run for the Chiefs. It couldn't have went any better for our hate watching, our love to hate watch. You had the Josh Allen to lose. You had the Broncos to go out and lose. You had the Patriots and all their fans that talked smack and said that they were going to represent the AFC a lot better. If they go into the Super Bowl and just get completely smacked just as bad as we did last year. It was just as dominant of a game. Defensively by the Seattle Seahawks as it was the Eagles last year. So, look, this is 2 years in a row the NFC has just outclassed the AFC, and they've done it with, to be honest, the NFC has done it with more mediocre quarterbacks. They don't tend to invest in quarterbacks a lot in the NFC as much as they do in the AFC, but they have all built their defenses, their pass rush, and they've relied on decent running games, and that's why they're there. You've seen it with the Eagles last year. The quarterback's not so hot, but Saquon Barkley carried them. And
Right.
then you've seen it this year. Zach Charbonnet, Kenneth Walker, that 1-2 punch. That is a big deal. And I think that it is moving. We're moving back in a direction where the high-flying craziness of football is starting to come back down to whoever can punch the other team in the mouth. You've got to win in the trenches. That's offensively and defensively. Drake May got beat up last night. I think we've clearly seen that the tackle that they drafted might not be
Campbell.
as good as Simmons that we drafted. So, I don't know. We're getting back to just the old adage of how football's played and how it's meant to be played. Every time it comes down to the same stuff. You got to win in the trenches. Who beats the other team down with the run game, and which defense is going to come out and smack you in the mouth? That's
Right.
the way it always
Defense
does.
wins championships. That's what everyone's always said, and that's
never
not
fails.
always been true. There were some times there where there were some good defenses getting a lot of points hung on them just because the offense had kind of got to the way the game was played, the way the rules had shifted, the way the safety stuff had shifted. Like everything was kind of favoring the offense. And it was making it very tough for defenses to do their job. But I don't know. I think like ultimately we're seeing it all flip, and it's pretty crazy. It's a pretty big twist here, and I think that's why the Chiefs had such a poor season last year and the year before that because
Yeah.
Andy wasn't adapting. He just wasn't.
Can I say this? We've talked about that maybe Breece Hall. It's possible the Jets were talking about using a franchise tag on him. It's now possible that you could see Seattle use the franchise tag. The 2026 running back non-exclusive franchise tag is projected to be $14.54 million. That's going to be for one season. They'd have to pay the top of the market money. So $14.54, somewhere right in that range. We'll just say $14.5 million. Is it cheaper just to go ahead and give them that $13 million a year that they're wanting, maybe could get up to? Or do you think they're going to surpass this franchise tag number? Like, do you think they could get to $15 million per year? Because there's some teams out there with a lot of money to spend.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Because I was kind of looking at the the running back market as a whole, and right now you got Saquon Barkley who's leading that pack with $20.6 million per. Right, and he's quite a bit ahead. Well, I mean, you got Christian McCaffrey who's at 19, but then even the third guy is Derrick Henry, and he's at 15, and that's where they're projecting Kenneth Walker to be now that he got that Super Bowl MVP.
Well, I think Kenneth Walker's more effective at the moment than Derrick Henry is in the NFL.
Right,
I
but then you
think
got
he's
Jonathan
more-
Taylor. Jonathan Taylor was widely thought to be the best running back in the league this year, especially when they were on their little run in the first half of the season. He's at $14 million. And if you go anywhere below that, you're looking at Alvin Kamara at 12, Josh Jacobs at 12, James Cook at 11.5 after his new extension.
Right. So Kenneth Walker and Breece Hall's right up there. They may
They're
not
going to be in that $15 million mark.
Yeah, they may not be at C-Mac territory. They may not be at Saquon Barkley, but if they're not, they're just right under. And honestly, I believe they got less wear and tear on them, obviously. I think they got a brighter future than these guys. Saquon Barkley was known as a huge liability with staying injured. So he's kind of nipped that in the bud a little bit, but I think these guys are definitely going to be right at that 14, 15 million mark. Somebody's got a lot of money to pay and they'll pay it.
You know what's really crazy, dude? Seattle won the Super Bowl last night, right? They are the fourth most cap space in the NFL. They have $71 million in cap space available. So that just goes to show you, there's ways to manage this stuff. We should not be $59 million over the cap right now. But we'll get to more of that in a minute. We'll talk about more of this running back stuff here in a minute. But real quick, just want to thank everybody for being here this afternoon. Let's freaking go. Hit that like button for us if you haven't yet. That helps us out, helps us get out to more people. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, you need to do that 100% if you're a Chiefs fan. If you're not a Chiefs fan, you're welcome as well. Come talk some football. I want to shout out Shane real quick for getting out a membership. Let's go, baby. Appreciate you, Shane. You're a legend. We got Sammy in the house with the 2-bomb. Mike says, at the end to the Saints and Hall to the Kansas City Chiefs, who drafts Jeremiah Love?
He could fall. He could fall all the way out,
Yeah.
or he just becomes the ultimate luxury pick. And Steve, you went back and said this. You said, look, if those two price them out, you got a cheaper option. You got the cheaper option at Love at number 9. Well, let me tell you this. I don't have it on hand right now, but somebody that is really good with the draft, I just seen it the other day post on X. Do you know that Jeremiah Love at pick number 9 is going to be over $30 million of guaranteed money? Okay. never played a snap in the NFL. You want to pay that to a guy that's never played a snap in the NFL, Jeremiah Love? Like, he's got a good projection.
That's pretty wild, ain't it?
$30 million north of guaranteed money because of taking a running back in the top 10. That is pretty crazy to think about as well. Like, you really want to invest that?
Yeah, that's pretty wild. You don't really think about that. You automatically think rookie.
Yeah, it's going to be cheap
rounder,
for 5 years.
You're going to get them for 5 years. It's going to be cheap. Yeah, so that could definitely be a factor. We got our boy Ed in the house with a 20 bomb. Let's go, y'all.
Ed, baby.
Appreciate you, Ed. Says, would you give our 9th and next year's first for Crosby, or we take Downs if Bailey and Bain are off the board? So, dude, I honestly, I just don't. I don't see a world where Max Crosby would be a Chief, because I don't think that Vegas is going to deal him to the Chiefs.
Right.
I don't think that the Chiefs are in a position to waste 2 years of first-round draft capital. I don't think they're in a position to pay Max Crosby what he would need to be paid. Like, there are so many factors there where I think that's damn near impossible. Now, in the other scenario here, if Bailey and Bain are off the board, do we take Downs? So I like the question, but I would also kind of throw it back to you. Do you think if Bain, Bailey, and Downs were on the board that they wouldn't take Downs no matter what? Because I don't. Like, I'm not so sure on that, because I think Downs is definitely one of the best football players in this entire draft. Now, I don't know if a team wants to go safety in a top 10 picks, and I know the Chiefs really need a premium pass rusher. But that's something they need to be looking at in this offseason too. Mike, I know he was fairly quiet last night. He wasn't the name that you heard a lot, but Boye Mafe just won a Super Bowl ring. That's another guy they were looking at the trade deadline. That's another guy they could go out and try to get free agency. So it really just depends, man. We talked about this yesterday on a members-only live stream. But a lot of how the draft is going to go is pending on how free agency goes. Whatever way Brett Veach decides to go with free agency, whether that's take a big shot at Breece Hall or Boye Mafe or who have you, that's going to kind of show you how that first pick is probably going to roll to. Because if they're going to take if they go out and get Boye Mafe, I highly doubt they're going to take another pass rusher at number 9, especially when they just drafted Ashton Gelati last year. They got Omar Norman Lott to play in the middle last year, and he's going to be back healthy. I don't see that happening. So I think you can kind of look at that and kind of judge how it's going to go.
Yeah, it's all going to rely on free agency. But to answer Ed's question, would you give our 9th and next year first for Crosby? No, I would not give up 2 first-round picks for Crosby. I don't think the Chiefs can afford to lose draft capital. We did that video. That video was because there were rumors going around, and the rumor was that he could be traded and traded to the Chiefs. We addressed that rumor. Within 3.5 minutes, we told you our exact thoughts. That is probably a pipe dream. The Chiefs cannot afford it. The Raiders probably would not trade him to the Chiefs. And even on the back end of that, I just don't see the Chiefs giving up all that money, even in free agency, to sign him. Right. So you would literally be giving up 2 first-round picks for the Raiders to even pick up a phone. Would they still trade him to us? I still don't know if it's likely they would trade him if we offered 3 first-round picks. They probably just want him out. They wouldn't want him in our division for sure. So we did address that. A lot of people were so irritated that we addressed that rumor as though we're not allowed to talk about football and crazy scenarios. And by the way, we said it was a pipe dream and it wasn't going to happen. Like, Steve, do you believe that Max Crosby is going to be in a Chiefs uniform next year? Absolutely not. Neither one of us do. There was nothing there but us talking about a rumor and addressing it. People got to chill with YouTube and trying to be YouTube managers, okay? Like, that's wild. Like, I don't need your help, okay? I don't need your YouTube managing skills. So, but to answer your question, no, I would not do that. And then you asked if we take Bailey, Bain, Downs. Look, Caleb Downs is my number 1 player on my draft board right now, and Ruben Bain is number 2 or 3. Jeremiah Love is ahead of Bailey for me right now. Bailey does not fit the Chiefs scheme. He doesn't do anything Spags does. I think that's just as much of a pipe dream to try to say Bailey's coming to the Chiefs as Max Crosby, to be honest. I can see Keldrick Falk landing here before. And that's not what Chiefs fans want to hear. We want that fun, go get that quarterback pass rusher. But we just don't do that in Kansas City, and we're never going to do that with Spags. Like, Spags just isn't going to do it. He's not going to change his stripes. The same way with Andy Reid, we want a guy, we want a big, flashy running back and this and that, and I don't know if that's going to change. Well, we want to go pay big money for, wide receivers and things like that in the offseason. Brett Veach never does that. I don't know if that's going to change. So we've all signed up, Steve, and I keep coming back to this. We signed up in the offseason. Everybody said that Andy Reid doesn't deserve to be fired. He shouldn't go nowhere. He needs one more year. Okay, well, you're going to get what you get, and you're going to get more Andy Reid. You're going to get more of the same. Spags is still here. You're going to get more of Spags. Brett Veach is still here. You're going to get more of Brett Veach. And I'm not saying that in a negative connotation. These guys have brought a dynasty to the Chiefs. I'm just saying that we are all sitting back and saying these guys should all come back, and we should never even discuss firing these guys or moving on. But now we're wanting to change their style and the way they do things. They're not going to do that.
Agreed. Yeah, I just like David Bailey's
fall asleep there, huh?
Yeah, kind of. But yeah, no, David Bailey's not fitting into our scheme whatsoever. Now, could I see them trying to get outside of it a little bit? There's a possibility. I think Ashton Gelati was a little odd.
Yeah, I'm not giving it a 0% chance with David Bailey, but there's a few more.
And they tried to take a shot on Josh.
Over.
They tried to get Josh Uche in there, and Spags just wouldn't go with it. So I think that could be your telltale sign there that Spags is just not going to do it. Even if he has the people to do it, if he has the personnel, he's still not going to do it because that's not how he does things. So,
Steve, Felix and Uzama was a pass rusher coming out of K-State, and they completely tried to put weight on him, just like they did with Omar Norman-Lott. They tried to make him set an edge. They tried to do this. They completely destroyed the way he rushed the passer, and he's been completely non-efficient. So if you draft Bailey, you know what they're going to do. Here, go eat some cheeseburgers. You got to put on 25 pounds. You've got to end your pass rush, and you got to learn how to set an edge. That's all they want.
Yeah. Shout out Ed for that 20 bomb.
Appreciate you, brother.
Let's go. Josh Vasquez with the 2 says we all going to troll Allen so hard now. 110%. Mike already started. I saw you trolling Josh Allen on X last night right after the game.
Bro, Sam Darnold. Look, the media loves to talk about how good Josh Allen and Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, all these guys are. They couldn't even win a Super Bowl, and they may never win a Super Bowl. But yet Sam Darnold out here, he sucks, according to most of the media, right? Mm-hmm. He was a bust.
Yeah. Josh Allen's so overrated. It's rough. Appreciate you, Josh. We got 5 pounds. 5 pounds from Gary Slater. Let's go. He says, hi, guys. Been following this draft. Does anyone know who's going to be at number 9? Every draft I've seen, there's been about 20 different guys at number 9. So that's the thing. It could go so many different ways because I think in this draft, Mike, you're looking at maybe 5 blue chip prospects, like 5 guys that you know are going to go in the top 10. And the rest is kind of, it could go either way, I don't know. So that could be why you've been seeing that. Also, a lot of people are going by different needs for the Chiefs. So, you'll start looking at these mock drafts. A lot of people have them taking Reuben Bain. A lot of people have them taking Jeremiah Love lately. I just saw one that came out yesterday or this morning, one where they took Carnell Tate. So, I mean, people have different opinions on what the Chiefs should do. So, it's really tough to tell. And then you never know what any of those teams in the top 10's big board looks like because there might be plenty of those players that are not even on their top 10 big board. That's not something they want, need, or even think about. So it's very tough to narrow down how a draft is going to fall. And I think that's the hardest part of the draft is when you're trying to figure out what player the Chiefs might go after. A lot of the time we'll look at certain things have they visited him? How much have they talked to him? How much have they? How many insiders have talked about this? Is there any telltale signs from the players or their families or anything else? That's normally what we try to do, is really get inside there and figure out who the Chiefs are looking at. But it's very hard to sit and look at the rest of the draft ahead of them and be like, well, it's going to fall like this, so this will be their options. You know what I'm saying? It's almost impossible. I mean, it's a little easier now at number 9, but even last year at 32, 31, whatever. But I think that no one expected Josh Simmons to be there. I didn't. I thought he would be long gone.
Look, can I answer this question very just simply? When you're number 9, there are 8 people in front of us that we can't control. You absolutely cannot control any of those picks. We can project those picks. We can look at needs. We can look at prospects. We can evaluate. We can say this fits here. This does this. But you cannot project it. So if you want to really look at how crazy the NFL draft is and what this is, and why me and Steve take so much value in trying to pick picks properly, because it's the hardest thing ever to do. And to just explain this in the simplest terms, If you take the top 20 players in this NFL draft, just the top 20 that you would consider that could get picked in, say, the top 10, because maybe somebody on my draft board's number 20, but maybe on another draft board they're number 9 or 10. And so maybe for the Saints, at pick number 8, they see them higher than we do, and they take them anyway, even though they're number 20 on our board. So if you just take the top 20 players in the 2026 draft, and you just look at all the statistical, mathematical breakdowns of how this could go, Steve, do you want to take a guess at how many different exact ways the top 9 picks could fall with all the top 20 players in the NFL draft?
I don't know.
5 billion.
You thought I was going to guess that. That's cute.
No, I wanted you to guess just a number.
5
because
billion.
most people's just going to say, I don't know, 1,000, 20,000, 100,000. 5 billion different ways that you could do the top 8 picks in the NFL draft with the top 20 players in the NFL draft.
That's wild. That's wild to think about. Right?
5 billion, which is why when me and you get a pick right in the 4th freaking round, we celebrate a little bit and everybody says, that's easy. Everybody called that. No, they didn't. 5 billion just in the top 9 picks, man. That is insane, the amount of odds to hit that. 1 in 5 billion, we can name this. Now, again, if things go by plan, it feels a little easier than 1 in 5 billion. But statistically, the odds are 1 in 5 billion, which is crazy. There's 5 billion different scenarios we could have in the top 9.
Pretty wild. Sammy with the 2 bomb says these Bailey fans don't want Casey to play like Casey. That's kind of what Mike was saying. But, I feel them. I feel them because, Mike, we really preached for Nick Bonito. We wanted Nick Bonito so bad. That was our my guy that year in that draft. We talked about it on this channel over and over and over again. We really wanted the Chiefs to get Nick Bonito, and he doesn't exactly fit into that Spag scheme. We wanted something different. We wanted an edge rusher that has some bend and some speed and can get after the damn quarterback. That's what we wanted. We didn't get it, and I don't think you're going to get it now with David Bailey. It's just how it is. And is it that they don't want the Chiefs to play like the Chiefs? I don't know if it's exactly that, but I think they'd like to see, a little bit of diversity in it. Like you just don't want a guy that's just, I don't know. Sometimes like a George Karlaftis, good player, love him, works hard, has a high motor, does a lot of things right. But Mike, you've said this over and over again, and you're a big fan of George Karlaftis. He's never going to be a top tier pass rusher. He's never going to hit that level. And it's like, that's what we sign up for. When we sign up for guys that only bull rush and only set the edge, you're signing up for second-tier pass rushers. You're never going to have a top-tier pass rusher that way. You're really not. I mean, maybe in the scenario where you were able to get Myles Garrett with a first pick overall, like he's an anomaly. But it's like, for the most part, that's just not how this works, man. So
it's still all just luck. I mean, think about it. You can take let's just think about it. Like we're picking number 9. Wasn't it the Giants just a few years ago picking in the top 5 or 3 or whatever, and then they take the kid out of Oregon that was supposed to be really good. Who's the guy on their team that they're talking about bumming off because he's not even doing well? I forget his name right now because he's not even relevant. So you can get bust across the board. So just because you're even picking high, you don't even land it. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
So it's all luck, man.
Yep. What's up, Tony Bone with the 2 bombs? Says at work, checking in with ACU crew, showing love. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Hope you have a good day at work. Get out of there soon. We got Steve-O in the house. He said, come on, Mike, how those numbers work?
Okay, I'm going to show you. If you're a mathematician, follow it.
Here you go,
Pick
Steve-O.
number 9 math. Look, here's your prospects. Just out of the top 20. I seen somebody say, no, he's taking every pick in the draft. I'm absolutely not. I'm taking the top 20 picks. So if you can estimate the top 20 guys on your big board, there's the formula. P, N, R, whatever. I don't know. I'm not a mathematician. But it says calculating these, there are exactly 5 billion different ways the first 8 picks can play out. So I'm not going to sit here and try to act like I did the math. I didn't, but I was smart enough to go put the math in somewhere and let them do it. Right. And that's the point.
Like a calculator,
5 billion. And that's just the top 20. Do you know how many people don't even have the same top 20 on their draft board?
It's pretty crazy.
One guy gets reached on. One guy gets reached on.
Honestly, I'm with Steve-O. When you hear the numbers, it's just like that.
It's crazy.
That makes
but
sense,
that's what the internet says, and I'll go with it because they're smarter than me.
Yeah, man. It's like I said, it's like using a calculator. Everybody does it. Now it's just AI. Answer everything for me. Do the math. Guys, appreciate y'all being here. Do us a favor, hit that like button for us. It just takes a second. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, what are you waiting for? Go do that. We're the #1 independent Chiefs channel on YouTube. We're trying to get up to 100,000 subscribers. Ultimately, that's our goal. But we're hanging around 56,000 right now, so we got a long way to go. You guys have been great, though. Love the community here. Love hanging out with everybody, talking football. It's a great place to be. So if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. You can also help out the channel by becoming a member. You can go to join.allchiefedup.com, or there should be a join button right at the top. It's $4.99 a month. And we do members only live streams and things like that. And it's always a good time. So you can do that. You can also go to our store. You can check out this hat right here is on the store. You can see that pinned in the comment section. You can go to merch.allchiefedup.com, and there's plenty of merchandise over there, and all that helps the store out as well. Mike, we got a lot more to talk about before we get to it. Just want to shout out another sponsor of today's live stream, Zarda Barbecue.
All right, y'all. Y'all got to check out our favorite Kansas City barbecue spot, the legendary Zarda Barbecue. They have 2 locations, one in Lenexa, one in Blue Springs. Get over there and get yourself an $11 lunch. We highly recommend Ashton Gelati Sandwich, the KC Takeaway. Get that bad boy with a side of baked beans and chef's kiss. It doesn't get any better than that. And if you're feeling something a little different, you can grab their new wings. Those things are freaking amazing. And did I mention their sauce game is top tier? So get over to Zarda Barbecue because they're legend. Wait for it. Dairy. And let them know All Chiefed Up sent you their way.
Let's go, baby. Get over there. Let them know All Chiefed Up sent you their way. Get you some good food, man. That sounds great right now, actually. If I was close, I would be there. I'd be getting me some food. Mike, let's talk some more about the Chiefs in this offseason here, because we're a month outside of free agency, literally. So things are going to be heating up soon. You're going to hear the rumors pouring in. You're going to have the insiders spouting off stuff. I mean, there's going to be all kinds of stuff to talk about, and it's going to be exciting. And it's nice to just get past this season because it was such a failure for the Chiefs. But there are some things that we have to talk about, and we've talked about them a little bit before on the show, but we have to talk about before you get to free agency, before you get to the draft and all that stuff, which is all fun, and we all want to talk about it. But let's talk about the people that we need to retain, because there's 2 that are very intriguing. We all want Leo Chanel in the house. That's a thing. We want him to be re-signed and be with the Chiefs long term. He's a great football player, and I don't even think he's hit his ceiling. I think if anything, they've limited him. I think he could do a lot more. I think Leo is a great football player, and I would love to see him extended. But then we got to talk about the cornerbacks, because Trent McDuffie is the hot topic, right? Because Trent McDuffie, it's like, hey, are we going to trade this cat, get some draft capital? Is that what we're going to do? Are we going to let him play for one more year and then whatever? Or are we going to, what are we doing with Trent McDuffie? Because if the latest inside information was that they're working on an extension, which would kind of go outside of the box that the Chiefs are normally in, where it's like, we're not going to pay any corner top tier money. We're just going to draft at it. But they went and got Trent McDuffie and moved up in the first round of the draft to get him. So to me, it's like, this could be the exception. They already invested heavily in him. He proved them to be right. He's been a top 3 corner in football for the last 4 years, whatever. And now it's time for him to get paid. And do they keep him or do they not? I want to know what everybody thinks in the chat. Do you think McDuffie's replaceable or not? Do you want him to trade him? Whatever it is, I want you all to throw it in the chat and let us know. But Mike, what's your thoughts on the whole situation?
I think that Brett Veach, again, I don't think Brett Veach wants to change his spots. I think at the end of the day, Brett Veach would rather not pay McDuffie. I think he's fine with going out and getting younger talent. I think he's fine with getting cheaper talent and letting Dave Merritt and Spags do their work. I think he's completely fine with that. But here's the dilemma. We are so far over the cap right now, and yes, there are a lot of moves we can do, but we have to pay $45 million in a cap hit to Chris Jones this time. You're paying $19 million this season as a cap hit for a guy you just re-signed last year in Nick Bolton, who a lot of Chiefs fans don't believe he's worth $19 million a year. You've got a 2026 cap hit on a guy you just signed last year, albeit a very good guard in Trey Smith, but he's at a $24-25 million cap hit. So Trent McDuffie right now is sitting at about a $13.5, $14 million cap hit going into 2026. Brett Veach has got to make a lot of tough decisions here. So yes, he can get rid of Trent McDuffie and go $13.5 million and just save it and grab some, bank some picks. But he can also, he may be forced now to go ahead and extend McDuffie, pay him, and then that will also help the cap a little bit this year and possibly help the cap next year as well. Because at this point, all this restructuring Mahomes, if you have to restructure Creed Humphrey, if you're restructuring, Chris Jones after 2 years of giving him his contract, if you're restructuring Trey Smith and Nick Bolton 1 year, if you're starting to convert all this stuff, you're literally just kicking the can down the road to the point that it is going to bite you on the ass. And so you've got to watch out. So he may be forced to sign Trent McDuffie to try to lower the cap number rather than trading Trent McDuffie. Because here's another thing that you said earlier. You were talking about how the Seattle Seahawks have built a decent team and got back to the playoffs and actually won a Super Bowl, and they did it, with a lot of cap room to spare.
$71 million under the cap.
Right, and you would think that automatically meant that they did that through the draft, and that's not entirely true. Check this tweet out here. Sam Teets, I love the last name, Teets. He said, an underrated part of Seattle's roster building was the Seahawks only drafted 4 of their primary starters. So they've only drafted 4 guys in the draft, and that is Witherspoon, Murphy, Eamon Warry, and Kobe Bryant in the 4th round. The rest of these guys, Steve, come off of free agency at some point.
Are you just talking about the defense?
Yes. Josh Jobe, waived by the Eagles. Drake Thomas was undrafted and waived by the Raiders. They picked him up. Ernest Jones, Leonard Williams, Julian Love, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Uchenna Nwosu, who returned that Drake May pick, fumble, whatever it was at the end of the game. But that shows you that these guys were active in free agency as well.
Right.
But they knew the right guys to fit their system. They paid them the right amount of money, and they still have tons of money going into next year. They're going to be able. They are heads and shoulders above us on being able to retain Kenneth Walker than what we could sign him for.
Right.
So that's what I'm trying to say. We're all looking to the draft. Brett Veach has to do it through the draft. He has to do it through this. It's just the way it's got to be done. Not so sure, because Seattle was able to do it through cheap, good prospects that fit their system and got the most out of them, whereas they only had 4 guys on the defense that were drafted. And we're looking every year being like, well, Brett Veach only has 5 picks. He's got to be able to draft a whole team to come in and replace all these guys. Not necessarily the truth. Brett Veach has to get a little bit better in free agency, to be honest, because he's kind of been a big whiff in the whole free agency market over the past few years.
Right. Well, Mike, I've been saying that. I've been saying that since halfway through the season. Like this coming off season, Brett Veach has got to do better in free agency. We never go out and make the splash that we need to make. We always do something strange, like overpay Jawan Taylor or go get Christian Fulton and just weird things. It's like we need to target players that are proven, that have been there and done that, and we know they're good and we know they're going to move the needle. And yeah, they might cost a little bit more, but hell, dude, you guaranteed $60 million to Jawan Taylor, a right tackle. Like, good Lord, what could we have done with that money?
You're right there. Do you think Brett Veach is trying to play both sides of the fence and it's bit him on the ass? And I'm going to explain that.
Trying to appease fans and appease critics and stuff?
He has not committed to go out and spending big money in free agency to go get the big tier guys because he can't do it. He don't have enough money to do it.
Right.
But he's not just going out and getting the bottom tier guys that fit systems, guys that are really good football players, because that doesn't appease fans to a certain degree. So to me, when the offensive line was bad, well, I got to go out and get Jawan Taylor, and I can't afford to pay top tier money, but I'm going to overpay Jawan Taylor to make sure I get a guy that looks like I'm doing something.
Exactly.
He also did it with a linebacker back in the day when he first started. I'm not even going to mention the name. It's like Voldemort. Not even going to do it because that was a horrible signing. He's done this over and over again. I think he did it last year with the corner. I think he did it last year. He needed a corner. He didn't want to go get the bottom tier guys because people wouldn't be pleased. He couldn't afford the top tier guys. So what's he do? He overpays for the guy he got that sat on the sideline all year.
Exactly.
He did it with Charles Omenihu.
He's got to be a bigger player. He's got to be a bigger player.
He did it with Mike Dana. That's what I'm saying. I think he's doing it too much. I think he's got to commit to one or the other.
Like I've said, it's enough of the mid signings. All we've ever done with Brett
either
Veach
go
is
pay the
sign
big money and get the impact players,
world.
or go just get the bottom of the barrel guys that we don't care to cut if they suck.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Just go get it.
If you're going to sign mid players that aren't going to move the needle or help you that much, then why are we paying them anything?
Right.
Sammy with the 2-bomb says if KC wanted, we could have moved Leo to defensive end long ago. Let's touch on Leo just for a second. Like I said a second ago, I think that they've kind of limited him.
Yeah.
The Chiefs have limited Leo Chanel. I think Leo is one of the best pure football players in that entire draft. He was the most athletic. He's one of the most athletic people to ever take a RAS test. Like the RAS score, I'm sorry, it's a 9.99. You can't get any better, really. I mean, you could be a perfect 10, I guess.
Leo's a monster, man. Coming out of Wisconsin, he was amazing.
Yeah, for sure. And they don't utilize him enough. They never have. He's only on and off the field. He doesn't get like a ton of snaps. They've had Nick Bolton. They've had Drew Tranquil. So they've always used him in that other role. But this is a good one. And we've talked about this last year. Like, why don't they put Leo on the edge more? Because I think he could be a really good edge player. It's interesting. But, I mean, if they haven't done it in the first 4 years, I don't think they're going to do it now.
No.
It's not going to happen. Like we said, they're not going to change their stripes. So I would like to see Leo stay around. And I would like to see them use his talents more. Like, let him do a little bit more. And I think coming off the edge would definitely be an interesting perspective for Leo Chanel because I think he could be good at it.
Yeah, look, the Chiefs done a couple things here. I think that they literally stunted Leo's development in the NFL. I think Leo could have been a star in this league. But I think that we've literally hampered him. Just like Spags does a lot of guys, he's got to play a certain way, a certain position, a certain type of football in that position. They don't experiment. They don't let him stand up on the edge. They don't do this. They don't do that. Like, he's very used in a defined role. I think a lot of NFL scouts and GMs will be able to see through that, and I think that Leo will get some offers on the market because people could see the athleticism here. Now, the Chiefs underutilized him and could have hurt his market. If they would have unleashed Leo could have been going into this as one of the highest-paid players in the market probably. And instead, so we don't know what he's going to sit. Right. Is he going to sit at $4 or $5 million? Is he going to get all the way up to $9 or $10 million? What's he going to be? Nobody knows. But Steve, I don't think we can afford Leo if he gets to the $7-8 million mark. We're too poor. We're poor.
Did they pull a heist on Leo Chanel? Like, did they limit him so we could still get him as a poor team?
Steve, say it. We're too poor to get Leo Chanel. Okay, if he wants $8 million, we're not going to be able to do it.
Nah, I think we could definitely work out something with Leo. But yeah,
you better get a hometown discount on it.
We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I love Leo, and I hope they retain him. I saw in the chat where there's a couple people just like saying, "Hey, I truly think Trent McDuffie is going to be around for at least one more year." I think the majority of people are just like trade him.
Steve, where do you sit on that? Like 100%. Like today, if you were Brett Veach, would you rather just trade him for what you could get, or do you think you'd just go ahead and re-sign him, or do you just let him play this year, maybe franchise tag him at the end of next year?
Kind of neutral on the situation, and I think I covered that a little bit the other day. But like, I love Trent McDuffie. Like, I love Trent McDuffie. I think he's a fantastic football player. He's a good kid. Like, he's great. He's great for Kansas City. But if they were to have to trade him because they need draft capital or they need to free up some of the future cap space because he's going to cost too much, then that's just business. So I'm not going to cry about it if they do it. He wouldn't be the first guy that we loved in Kansas City that got traded away. I mean, good Lord. Right. I thought the city was going to implode when they traded Tyreek Hill. And then look how that worked out. I mean, we ended up with 2 Super Bowl rings right after that. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's just the business, it's the nature of the beast. So, like, my thing is if Brett Veach decides to pay Trent McDuffie, I will say this. I think it's riskier to extend Trent McDuffie with the amount of money that he's going to get. I think if Brett Veach wants to play it safe, he trades him away. Because if you trade him away and you get a first-round draft pick or what have you, and Trent McDuffie's good, then, okay, Trent McDuffie's good. Everybody knew Trent McDuffie was good. But if you extend Trent McDuffie for a lot of money and you hinder your own cap space and what we could have done to make other things happen, and then in hindsight, it's like, well, McDuffie was good, but he wasn't top 3 corner. Like, that was a waste. So like, I think like the safe play for Brett Veach would probably be to trade him away, to be quite honest about it. But if he decides to extend McDuffie, if that's what him and Spags and Andy want to do, I'm not going to be mad at it. I'm not going to be pissed. So I mean, I'm kind of neutral on the situation.
Well, look, here's my thing. We've seen last year Trent McDuffie not play in the final few games of the season, and the Chiefs defense looked okay. We looked like we could do well with Christian Fulton when he was healthy. We looked as though we could do well. Kevin Knowles in the slot when they would get away from Chamari Connor. And so Kevin Knowles did a good job as a rookie. I also think you can do that with Christian Roland Wallace. He was a lot better slot corner than playing moron Connor in the slot. Like, that is one of the worst things ever. I'm never going to get over that. Like, Spags is so mental when it comes to that. So other than that, though, but we see Noah Williams step in. To be honest, Fulton and Williams and Knowles and all these guys didn't look all that bad. So, yes, I love Trent McDuffie, but does he justify paying that much money? Because we looked pretty good. And you can still go to the market and get yourself a corner that don't cost as much to help pad up a little bit of the depth. You can go to the draft and take one late. We've been known to develop a few of those. So I don't know if I want to spend that much money on Trent McDuffie, to be honest. And I don't know if Brett Veach does either. Could he have just been blowing smoke with that insider report? Or is this insider report just trying to get clicks on X, probably?
No telling, dude. Speaking of insider reports, Diana Rossini reported that she talked to people close to Travis Kelce, and they think he's going another year. And there's been some speculation. Mike, I know you didn't like that because it's like, oh, well, she didn't tell us anything. She told us that he, right, like, well, oh, he might retire, he might not. Of course. That's exactly what she told us. That's what we know. But she also told us people close to him are speculating he's going to go another year. So she's saying the people that know Travis Kelce the best.
Did she say who the people were? No. Did she give any indication? Like, did she say family, friends,
I didn't talk
players?
to her personally. I just saw a tweet.
No, I meant did the tweet or the article or anything say it? I was
I
just
only
curious.
saw the tweet. No, it just says people closest to Kelce,
Gotcha.
Insiders, that kind of deal. That's basically all she said. But they said that, obviously retirement was talked about, but they all think that he's going to go for one more year. And that's kind of that was her angle on that. And that being said, that's also something you have to look at in free agency and even the draft. Because even if Kelce comes back for one more year, which I'm completely fine with, I'm actually a fan of Kelce coming back for one more year because I want to see him go out in a much better fashion. I think he's still productive. He might not be what Kelce was 5 years ago, but he's Travis Kelce. He's still the second leading tight end in yardage in the entire NFL last year behind Trey McBride. And what I would like to see is him come back for one more year. We can still utilize him, but it doesn't have to be at a 75% snap rate. Maybe we can knock him down to 50% or even less. But we have to get that next guy in here. I don't think it's Noah Gray. I don't think it's Jared Wiley. And I'm sorry, I don't think it's going to be Jake Brenningstool, the UDFA. I just don't.
Right.
So I think that they need to do something in free agency. So, like, if they're not going to go out and spend a bunch of money on Breece Hall, if they're not going to go after a Boye Mafe, then maybe they start looking at Isaiah Likely, or maybe they start looking at spending a lot of money on Kyle Pitts. Like, maybe that's another position that they really need to consider here, because we have to get something in place for post Kelce. We've been talking about that for half a decade. Like, what is what's the succession plan for Travis Kelce?
Yeah, you're kind of running out of time here. It's either kind of like, shit or get off the pot here. You got to make a decision at some point.
Right.
Whether
So go
Kelce comes
out.
back or not.
Maybe you trade back and you end up using your extra pick you got on Kenyon Sadiq. I don't know, but you have to do something, and you have to get them involved, and you have to get them involved heavily in this offense. You can't give it all to Travis 100% again and then him just retire. That's a terrible idea. So I think if Travis comes back for one more year, it's a team-friendly deal. And also, you're probably only going to play about 50% of the snaps, because we're going to have another guy in here that's going to be taking your spot, and he's going to be taking the other 50% because we got to get him in here and going. So I think that's definitely something they got to think about too.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs got to start looking to it. Look, you may need to go to free agency to get somebody. We were under the impression that maybe Jared Wiley was going to be okay coming in, but it just doesn't look like his.
I was not a fan of that pick, if you remember.
No, yeah, you didn't love it. I will say that he doesn't look like he fits as well as we thought he could have fit into the Chiefs scheme. And again, this may just be Chiefs football. This is how they do. They'll go draft people and it just don't fit. They switch it up. But he don't look like he's going to be there. Brenningstool's got a little bit. We've not really seen him too much outside of just, off-season stuff. But I'm with you. I think Noah Gray, I think his time's come and gone. I would almost consider trading Gray to somebody. Finding somebody that needs a tight end and go trading Noah Gray off and try to get as much as you can. Maybe you get a 4th-round pick out of Noah Gray. I don't know if you could get something that high. But maybe do something like that. I would almost just move off of Noah Gray at this point.
I'm not 100% convinced that he can't do it. Like, I think that there was a time where I thought, hey, let's go ahead and transition this bad boy.
No, but
they're not giving him the chances. They're not giving him the opportunity.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a reason.
I've seen enough of him to know that I think he's a little too limited. I want something a little more athletic, a little bit more reliable.
Yep. Mike, JCP in the house right on time talking about tight ends.
Let the boy watch.
JCP talk about tight ends. He says, who do you like at tight end for the Chiefs? So, Mike, I guess if it's your ideal situation, what do you think the Chiefs should do? I'll tell you mine real quick, real simple.
Yeah.
I think you get Travis Kelce back for one more year. You cut his snaps to where he's playing about 50% of the time. And you either go out and spend money on Kyle Pitts or Isaiah Likely, or you draft Kenyon Sadiq. I think that is where you've got yourself to, because we made an entire offense centered around a tight end, and now we don't have a tight end. We have an aging tight end that's about to retire.
Absolutely. Yeah. Look, I don't know what you do, because honestly, you've got Kenyon Sadiq, who's probably going to be in a first round. He's probably going to be a first-round pick. A lot of people are saying he's not as good as they thought. It's a bad class for tight ends. It's not as great. So he may fall late first. He could go early second. I'm not 100% sold. I think Sadiq is worth a top 20, 25 pick in this draft, 100%. So maybe the Chiefs don't get their guy at number 9. They trade back. They get some extra picks. You can get Sadiq. I would be fine with that option. Maybe the Chiefs trade McDuffie, get a late first-round pick. Sadiq falls in our lap at the end of the first round. I would take that too. I think if you don't get Sadiq, you're looking at maybe one or two guys that you may consider at pick number 40 if he's there. That might be Max Clare out of Ohio State. There's a lot of guys that's saying that there's some more guys that could be jumping up. The kid from Stanford, I forget his name, but he's been talked about here lately. God, I just can't think of his name right now. But anyways, is it Roush? Sam Roush, maybe? So anyways, there's a few guys that could possibly land there, but to be honest, if you want if you want the tight end, it's going to be a third or fourth round kind of thing. I think you could maybe look at like an undersized kind of dude like Eli Stowers. I don't mind him. There's some rare guys like Justin Jolly, Michael Trigg.
If you're trying to replace Travis Kelce, can we stop doing it with mid-tier draft picks?
Well, that's your thing.
That's not going to happen.
But you got to remember, Kelce was also a third or fourth round pick as well.
Yeah, but Kelce is one of one.
Okay,
he is
maybe
the gold standard of tight ends.
But
good luck
you never know
that.
when you're going to hit, and I think that's the point. You got to keep taking shots. You can't be. Yeah, Sam Roush was the one I was thinking about, Stanford, but you can't be so. You can't be so limited and be like, well, Noah Gray's okay. Wiley's okay. We got a UDFA and Brenningstool. He could be something. It's like, no, these guys aren't. They've had time to prove. Everybody besides Brenningstool, but they've had time to prove. Like, we got to keep taking some shots here, in my opinion, or you're going to
at least.
Yeah,
at the least, you have to keep taking some shots there. If anything else, you might want to go out and just get some kind of proven veteran that can do the job that's going to be available. I don't know. Maybe nothing groundbreaking, but you got to do something. You got to do something to bridge the gap. End of story. So it is what it is, man. But I think that's definitely a talking point that we're going to be having a lot in the offseason, because I think that's another position that the Chiefs just have to figure it out, man. So, I mean, ideally, it would be nice not to have to pay Kyle Pitts a ton of money. Maybe if you could get an Isaiah Likely for a lot less than a Kyle Pitts, I think he would be good in our offense. I think he's basically a wide receiver out there, just the same way Travis Kelce is. So I think that might be the ideal.
Do you like the idea of maybe bringing in somebody like it's maybe not top tier? Like, we like Isaiah Likely. People's talked about Kyle Pitts. What do you think about a guy like Cade Otton? He was regarded decently coming out. He played with Brady.
Yep.
Like, is that enough of a fix or no?
No, I think that would be more of like something like that is the equivalent of drafting another one in the 4th round, just trying to find a bridge to somebody else. It's either that or you get off of the tight end. But here's the thing, the way this game has kind of changed, and we talked about this, the run game's heavy, the defensive heavy, the tight ends are still valuable. I mean, you saw in the Super Bowl last night, Barner had a game and a half. Like, he was a lot of their offense. And who's A.J. Barner?
Yeah.
Steve,
I'm telling you right now, Justin Jolie, North Carolina State, he's a little shorter than people like because he's only 6'3", but he's 251.
Had one
I
last
really
year.
like that kid out of NC State. I think he could be a steal in round 3.
They had one last year that they should have went and got, and they ended up the Browns ended up with him, and he's an athlete and a half.
Yeah, he was good too.
Yep. I forgot his name. Harold Fannin.
Harold Fannin Jr.
Running back with the ball in his hands would have been perfect. They didn't bat an eyelash at it. So, I mean, it is what it is. We'll see what they do. Sammy with the 5 bomb says McDuffie is the best slot in the NFL. Teams like the Rams and Seahawks are using slot receivers more and more. He's got great value with how teams are developing. I think McDuffie has a lot of value because I don't think McDuffie's bad on the outside. Is he the best slot corner in the NFL? Absolutely, 100%. But is he bad on the outside? No, he's still a top 5 outside corner. Yes, he struggles with size, and sometimes he doesn't, but like that's the thing. Nobody's perfect. I mean, you watch Sauce Gardner get out there and get worked. You see Derek Stingley get worked all the time. That just happens from time to time. You can't look at one bad game from Trent McDuffie and be like, he sucks. He's not an outside corner. That's not true. That's not true. Look at the big picture. So I think McDuffie's very valuable. So I think if the Chiefs want to trade him away, there's going to be people that are going to be players. A lot of teams value corner a lot more than the Chiefs.
Here's where I'll say this, Sammy, and you're not wrong. He is the best slot. I said when he come out, he was going to be a top 3 slot corner in the NFL year one. I said that, Steve. You know I've said that.
Yeah.
He is. But he's also a good slot corner because he's just a good corner all around. He is an outside corner. He wants to be an outside corner, and he wants to get paid like an outside corner. He's not giving up half of his contract that's projected at $100 million and 80, 90 million guaranteed. He's not giving that up to take what Kyler Gordon got. Okay, that was like 40 million and 15 million guaranteed. He's not doing that. He wants that big outside corner money, and you're not going to pay him outside corner money and then relegate him to the slot. That would be the most ignorant shit I've ever seen in my life. Now that sounds like something the Chiefs would try to pull, but that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So if he's going to get paid as an outside corner, he must play as an outside corner because you're not going to be able to sign yourself an outside corner. So I don't care if he's a good slot or not. If he's not getting paid as a slot receiver, he can't play slot. He can do it every once in a while, but you can't be a primary slot receiver getting paid like an outside corner. You can't do it.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. It's fair. Brad with the 5 bomb says corner and edge. So a lot of people are getting on the corner train. I think, like I said, I think it really depends on what they decide to do with Trent McDuffie. That could kind of be the first domino to fall, in my opinion. Now, they could drag their feet on it, but I feel like that would be the telltale sign of how this offseason is going to go, is what they're going to do with Trent McDuffie. Like, I think that's the most obvious, glaring thing that we need to figure out. Now, they could sit on it and just pay him what he's going to get and then let him walk. But I don't see them doing that if they could get some value out of him. So, and then, of course, edge. We're all about premium pass rushers. We need one. We need a better pass rush. We can't rely on Chris Jones to do everything himself. We've added to it. I mean, George Karlaftis has been good. I'm not going to say he's great. He's not top tier, but he's good. You got Omar Norman Lott. We don't know what we got just yet. We saw flashes right before he got hurt. Okay, and if they lay off of him and quit trying to make him a Derek Nottie, make him gain weight and stuff the run, then I think he could definitely get some pressure on the quarterback. Ashton Gelati was coming on at the end of the year. The more snaps he gets, the better he's going to get. He's got a lot of speed. He's got a lot of promise. But I think you still go out and add one more piece. We need one really good piece on the edge. And to me, it's like if you sit and you take Ruben Bain at number 9, if he's there, if he's available, which I don't think he's going to be, then sure, that's okay. I'm not going to get mad if you take a shot on that. Do I think that it's a risky one? Yes, with Ruben Bain, because I think it could be a lot more of what we've seen, a lot more of the same. But in free agency, there's probably not a whole lot to go after. And premium pass rushers, they're pretty penny, man. So, like I said, I would expect them to sniff around Seattle at Boye Mafe because that's what they were doing at the trade deadline. I expect them to sniff around, Breece Hall because that's what they were doing at the trade deadline. Brett Veach isn't exactly a guy that holds his cards close to his chest. Like most of the time when Brett Veach wants something, that's what Brett Veach goes after. And I mean, he's been fairly predictable when it comes to the people he tries to get. We knew he was eventually going to get D-Hop because he wanted D-Hop, right? Yeah. So, I mean, it's just if and when they can make it happen.
Right. Look, corner is a position of need, in my opinion. I think corner may be a position of need even if you re-sign McDuffie. It's not so urgent. But, I mean, think about it. You've got our number 2 locked up with Noel Williams. But Christian Fulton's only here for one more year. And Christian Fulton is a liability of getting on the field. You do have, Christian Roland Wallace, who's kind of a safety hybrid. You have Kevin Knowles again, but you don't have a lot of big talent there. So you're probably going to lose Josh Williams. You're probably going to lose Jalen Watson in the offseason here. So you're still going to need corners. I don't want to go back to, signing Najee Johnson and letting him do anything of importance. Like, let's get over that as well.
Right.
So I think whether you get McDuffie back or not, you still need corner. Now it makes it like, do you want to take a corner in round 2 or do you need to take a corner in round 5 or 6? Pick up some extra picks and go do it that way. Right. There's where it lies. But if you want to take a corner at pick number 40, I'm completely fine. If you want to trade back from number 9 and pick up a late round pick, I'm completely fine with doing it late in the first. But there's nothing there at number 9. I think if you was to pull the trigger on Jermod McCoy or Monster Delaney at number 9, you're crazy. That's insanity. I would never do it. I think at number 40, you've got guys like Keith Abney out of Arizona State. You got Brandon Cisse out of South Carolina. If he gets to number 40, both of those are good options. I think if you want a guy that could maybe do a little bit of slot corner and maybe some stuff in the zone, Steve, you like Avion Terrell. I think he could do that as well. If you want to go to round 3, you may get a Chris Johnson out of San Diego State. There's a lot of good corners sitting there that you can pick in round 2 through 6. So I don't want to take a corner early. And again, I'm not saying don't pay McDuffie, and I'm not saying pay McDuffie. I'm fine with McDuffie being on this team or not. He's a hell of a football player. All I'm saying is you cannot give McDuffie corner 1 money that an outside corner makes and put his role in the slot, because you just can't do that. Right. You're not paying a slot corner that much money.
Yeah, I think that's pretty clear to everybody. I think everybody's on that page. That's just stupid. But there's one more thing I want to cover real quick, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because we're about to get off here. But we have to think about safety as well, because Brian Cook's not on contract. And Brian Cook, he kind of turned it on this year. I was impressed with how he played this season. I thought he looked like one of the guys that actually cared. I think he played with a little bit of sense of urgency. He was actually hitting people. He was making good plays, and we've seen a big improvement from him. Now, that pick I wasn't thrilled with either. Taking him in the 3rd round or whenever we took him that year, I thought that was a reach, and I think it proved to be a reach. However, he did have that injury in the middle of it there that kind of slowed him down, but I think he's getting back to form. If they can get him back for a decent price, I'm okay with that. But you also have to think about safety too, because we're not loaded in the safety room. So take from that what you will. If Downs is sitting there at number 9, would they actually spend that much draft capital on a safety?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a top-tier player. He's one of the only top-tier players in this draft.
He's number 1 player on my board. I comped him to Eric Berry. I see every bit of Eric Berry. I think Caleb Downs is going to be the only one of the only players in this draft that's a blue-chip prospect. He's one of the only guys that I think will be a perennial Pro Bowler. Barring some kind of an injury or something, which you can't really project. But Caleb Downs is amazing. I think if you want to look at second round, let's say you don't want to do corner second round, you've got guys like Emmanuel McNeil Warren out of Toledo, who is a hell of a football player. Genesis Smith out of Arizona can flat out play. Dylan Thieneman from Oregon played at Purdue a little bit. He can flat out play. Keontae Scott's picking up a lot of. I know our boy Price Carter loves Keontae Scott out of Miami of Florida. He's a guy you may get in the 3rd round possibly if he don't, have a big combine. So you've got plenty of options here, but I'm with you. We're not as deep there. You're not going to get back Edwards anymore. Mike Edwards is going to be gone. Your days of your Deion Bushes are gone. So right now you've got Brian Cook, who's not under contract, and if he gets what they think he's going to get, I'm not paying him $8-10 million a year. It's just not worth it. If he signs for $4 to $5 million a year, I would consider it. But you've seen how the team, they acted like, we know Chamari Connor's just ass. Like he's ass when they ask him to cover the slot. So if they would just relegate him to a safety position, maybe he's fine. Spags wouldn't even play Jaden Hicks last year. After having a hell of a rookie season, we thought he was going to step up and be amazing in year 2. And Spags literally kept him on the bench. He's turned into the dude Josh Williams. Can't figure out why this guy's in the doghouse. Like, he can't be screwing up as much as Chamari Connor, yet Chamari Connor's playing 99% of the snaps, and we can't see Jaden Hicks. So I don't know what the hell was going on with Spags last year, but he's got to figure it out. We got to get through this, and we definitely need some safety help right there as well.
Yeah. Sammy with the 2 bomb says, did we overpay every player extension last year? I think the Trey Smith extension was too pricey for a guard. I will say that. I love Trey Smith. I'm glad that he's here.
Yeah,
but I think what we had to pay a guard, that was just kind of asinine in my opinion. But I mean, you do have to worry about protecting Patrick Mahomes. That's one thing you don't want to get back into is Patrick Mahomes with no O-line. Like, that's been a theme. So we want to be careful. you want to try to make sure Patrick Mahomes is upright and taken care of. I get that. So I'm not completely mad at it. But yes, I thought it was a bit of an overpay.
Plus, I believe he's just really good friends with Mahomes, good friends with Creed. We've seen them even go to like wrestling events and stuff together, right? Like, so I think that they wanted to keep him there and they wanted to do what they could to do it. The one I was upset on, Steve, was Nick Bolton. I think they overpaid Nick Bolton. Now, I know a lot of Chief fans are going to throw out the old, well, he's the leader of the defense. That's what Spags wanted. It's this, it's that.
Spags also wanted Jamari Conner on the football field 100% of the time.
Exactly. And I mean, sometimes, yes, I love Nick Bolton as a human. As a football player, he's good. I don't think he's worth the contract he was paid.
I think Nick Bolton is a good football player. I think Nick Bolton has changed games for us in a dramatic way at times.
Right.
But I'm with you. I don't know if he's worth the money
$20
that
million
we
on the cap hit next year.
Exactly. That's just something to think about, dude. This is something to think about.
This is a middle linebacker in general. Is a middle linebacker ever worth a $20 million cap hit? Like barring like Ray Lewis in his prime here, or like Luke Kuechly or something. Like, what are we doing?
That's a discussion to be had, guys. We appreciate you being here. Do us a favor, hit that like button on the way out if you haven't. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, do that. Hit that sub button, baby. Let's try to get this thing pumped up. You guys share this out with your friends and family. Anybody that likes the Chiefs, anybody that likes talking NFL, share it out with them. We would appreciate that. You can also support the channel by joining, becoming a member. You know that join button at the top, or go to join.allchiefedup.com. And it's only $4.99 a month. You can get members only live streams. We always have a good time. It's fun. We give stuff away. Definitely could be a part of that, and it's a good time. You can also go to our store, which is merch.allchiefedup.com, or you can look up here at the pinned comment. I got this hat in it right now. You can get over there and purchase something from the store, and that helps us out, and you get some sweet merchandise in return. Guys, I want to shout out DraftKings and Zarda for sponsoring today's live stream. They're freaking awesome. Download DraftKings, use that promo code ACU. Get over to Zarda. Get yourself some good food. Let them know All Chiefed Up sent you. Enjoy talking football with you guys today. We're going to have much more coming up. Podcast to be released soon. Keep an eye out. We're going to be going 365 days this year, like always. So go Chiefs, baby.
Wow.